most of these people that did those promos the other day, they were not familiar. Well, before I say this, we were out in the middle of a field, cows everywhere, and they had all these high-powered equipment and everything. They were not familiar with ants, had no concept of them. Because the photographer, this was day 2. This guy was like down, he'd be just rolling around on the ground. We're doing all these
and they're not
weird things.
They're not well versed on fire ants.
No. So I looked down and I saw one of his legs that looked like turned red. And I said, You're in ants. And he was like, "What's this? There's a stinging sensation." He said, "There's a stinging sensation." I said, "There's 1,000 ants on you." Well, then when I got to looking at both of his arms, he just had the little pimples all over him from the day before. I said, "You remember yesterday when you had the stinging?"
Why is that so funny to me?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody else was laughing.
This is when L.A. meets L.A. L.A. to Louisiana.
The other L.A.
Well, I said, those things are toxic. Well, when I said that, look, he said, "Do I need to go to the hospital?" But now he's full scale getting them off of him because they're stinging.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, we're going to sit here and see if you're allergic to them.
That's right.
But if you start turning a different color than red, we may take you to the hospital."
If your tongue gets so thick you can't breathe, yeah.
Get enough bites, it's pretty
it
rough.
started a series of conversations where they were all inspecting themselves, and they're like, "I got them too." It was like they had, some kind of zombie polio because they were noticing all the pimples.
Every bite turns into a little zit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Every one of them.
Well, they're very toxic.
And they were like,
Thankfully, they're little, or we'd be in trouble.
It's two weeks to a month for all that to go away. It's a pretty rough deal.
Yeah, so I did find that fascinating. I was like, you don't have ants in L.A.?
They did go to the hospital, the Duck Dynasty crew, multiple times. We would just go through, but some of them called me up there and they said, "Why is it that we're just being eaten alive with all these things in that grass out there?" Now, these little chicks were out there, the Los Angeles chicks.
The little shorts, yeah.
They have the little shorts and the bare legs, look at me. And they're walking around out through the weeds, and we're walking around out there, and no one is even touched by these fire ants because we just got it.
We know what to avoid.
Yeah.
Well, but see an ant
they
bad.
did end up in the hospital. They were just, torn up.
I know. And it's sad, but I guess we're so used to it. I tell people all the time, and they think,
said, "Why are they not on you?" And I said,
"But you don't realize you're avoiding them without noticing." Because look, we had this happen. We're all laughing at their pain, and
which is part of the fun,
Yeah, and nobody was allergic beyond. Other than they're getting all the zits on them and all, and so it's funny. But then the next shoot, because then we all go back to the little trailer and hang out, and then they go set up the next shoot.
Right.
And so they put because these are like movie-like commercials,
right,
where it's a little spoof. It's 15 seconds, but they set up for them for an hour.
Oh, yeah, classic.
They got they have it well lit. They have cameras and...
Got to be perfect.
Yeah, everything's... So we go to the next one where everybody's standing, and they have me standing on top of a huge ant bed. They literally had an X. They put little X's where you stand.
On the fire ant bed?
You could barely see it because it was encased in ants. And I said, "Hey, same problem. I'm not standing here." And they're like, y'all have an ant problem.
You think?
I said, "This is Earth. This is we are here on Earth. We're in a place where concrete doesn't cover up all the critters." I guess. Do they not have ants in L.A.?
I guess not. But I tell people all the time that Louisiana, almost everything in the wild can hurt you and will hurt you.
Yeah.
You have
a lot of stinging things.
Yeah, a lot of stinging.
Well, I've said before that if you wanted to inflict pain on someone, you don't have to do anything. You could just tie them up out in the woods.
Yeah.
Because something will get you.